Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, first question. Just started conjugate. When I do box squats with 50% of my max, 30% band tension, I'm fairly slow off the box. Is this okay and will improve over time, or should I lighten the load or band tension so I can come off the box quicker? Or is it possible I have the band stretched too tightly? It is possible that you have the band stretched too tightly. So here's my question. What's your band setup look like? Take a picture of it. Send it over to the fitness page, right? Send it over. I don't know if your band tension's too tight without seeing your setup. See what it looks like at the bottom. See how you have it attached. How do you have the band stretched? Now, that being said, if you're sure your band tension is correct and you're too slow, reduce the bar weight. Taking chain or band off is not ideal, right? Because that's not making you slow out of the bottom. Unless you got the bands too tight. It's not making you slow out of the bottom. Too much bar weight is relative to your current speed strength. So go down to 40%. See what it looks like at 40%. Although if you're just starting conjugate, why are you doing 30% bands on the box? You do 25. In fact, I would say try 40% bar, 25% band if you know the bands were set up correctly, and see if you can get a lot faster and then build from there. Okay, that's usually what we need to do. We need to tune these things a little bit. I give baseline stuff of, say, 50% bar weight plus 25% accommodating resistance as a baseline. Okay, a lot of people need to reduce that to get the speed that they want. A few people can go heavier than that and get the speed they want. I have one kid who we have to go heavier because he ends up getting up on his tippy toes on his speed squats, even against chains. And again, trying to get him to stop doing it, and I can't, so we just keep adding weight and adding weight, but he gets so much bar speed. Right? And he's not an elite lifter either. Right? He's an intermediate. He's an intermediate. It's just how explosive he is. I have others who even at 40% plus 25%, their squat looks like a heavy work set no matter what I do. It's like I almost need to take them to the empty bar. Right? It just is what it is. They exist. You get those outliers. All right, next question. What are the negative health effects of drinking 0-calorie diet drinks as opposed to water? Can 0-calorie diet drinks affect body composition? I briefly answered that below, and I'm going to say, well, compare that to your other alternative if you want a sweetened beverage. And again, take this flexible dieting crowd. I don't want to hear your crap. The negative effects of too much high fructose corn syrup are pretty well documented. So if you care about your health, you're not going to drink regular soda, right? If you care about your health at all. So let's come over and look at the diet soda. Body composition, 0 effects have ever been determined, at least in any sort of comprehensive study, and there's no reason to think that they would negatively affect body composition. There's no mechanism, there's no evidence other than scary chemicals. Okay, that's it. Other effects, they can sometimes cause you to bloat. The carbonation can cause bloating. In some people, a little bit of GI tract bloat can happen depending upon the person. From, again, those left-hand sugars, because that's what they are, right? Artificial sweeteners, we don't absorb them because they're a left-hand sugar instead of a right hand in the way that it twists. A little chemistry there. But as far as real health effects, there's never been anything conclusive so far. It's been looked at a lot. As I put below, and a well-known dietitian actually clicked like. He's one of those 8 likes to my response. Little Mike Dola there. That there is a hypothesis with limited supporting data that there might be some disruption to your gut biome. Okay, and that's from artificial sweeteners in general. There's not strong support for it. In other words, it's not one of those things that you can look at and say, oh man, this really is a real risk. There's quite a bit of evidence. No, there's some small, very limited amount of evidence. It's not enough to where you should really be basing your decisions off of it. I would just say be aware that it's an existing hypothesis. with a little bit of supporting data. Not enough data to draw any sort of real conclusions, meaning it's pretty weak at this point. It should probably be looked at a little bit closer, right? But the thing to remember is that gut biome is pretty complicated, and there's a lot of things you can do to improve your gut health in general that are probably going to have a larger positive effect than whatever hypothetical negative is there. But just be aware there is a hypothesis out there on it. Take it for what it's worth. All right, next question. Boring question here, but how do you track your PRs on your conjugate lifts? Do you use an old school paper and pencil notebook, a created spreadsheet, or some type of program or app? I use spreadsheets, and I keep them. I keep them forever. So in other words, if I were to go back to 2019 and look in the month of January, I have a record of whatever my closed grip bench press against 30 pounds of bands was. I know what my box squat max was off of what height of box with a buffalo bar and how many pounds of chains. Okay. I track them that way. I've used my own notations to track my sheets. I have actual rows. Like I actually make individual tabs at this point for squat, benching, deadlifting, good mornings on each set of spreadsheets for certain date ranges. And so then I use them accordingly. I track everything these days by date, and then I run columns, where I break down the different variations above. So like let's say for benching, I might have one for normal grip bench, pinkies on the rings. I might have one for closed grip bench, and I'll put NG for normal grip, CG for closed grip. Then I will put underneath it whatever other details are there, such as was it bands or chains? How many pounds of band or chain tension was there? Did I use a bench block? What size bench block? Was it a 1 board, a half board, a 3 board? Did we run a 2 board against 40 pounds of bands? And if so, we mark all that. We use a different bar. I'll also put a different set of annotations for different bars. I have a meaning for buffalo bar. I have one for cambered bar, so on and so forth, right? Box heights are put. So everything is listed with notations that I understand above, then with a date underneath, and then the weight. So I can look through that column later, and let's say I max again on that same lift in 10 weeks. I can compare that max for the buffalo bar on a 12-inch box with 40 pounds of chains. And if I hit whatever 500 on at that time, I look and go, aha, I got 505 10 weeks later. All on the same sheet. So that's how I personally track it. It's very easy to set up once you're used to doing it, and I keep up with it. I also track all my current 10 rep maxes on all of my lifts. I know what my 10 rep max is on a pause deadlift, on a Romanian deadlift, a closed grip bench, a dumbbell press, chest press, everything. I track all of those on their own sheets also. I don't do those by date. I just track what my current bests are so that I can try to improve on those. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.